Good day, participants. Today we would be discussing about Module 3 of the Certified Financial Planner program. Module 3 is the course which is titled Retirement Planning and Employee Benefits. We would be starting this module today, and we would be studying the first chapter, which is Introduction to Retirement Planning, and we would be discussing in it issues in retirement planning. We would be talking about life expectancy. We would be talking about career stability, pre-retirement counseling, wealth creation, early retirement, and the effect of inflation on the retirement savings. Let's begin with issues in retirement planning. Let's begin with the word retirement. What does retirement means? Well, everybody knows that retirement in the common parlance means when a person retires after completing his service in a particular organization, which is also known as superannuation age. In many organizations, the superannuation age is 58 years. In some organizations, it is 60 years. Nowadays, it's also 62 years. And sometimes it is extended also in some organizations till 65 years. So we can say that retirement is the point when the person is not in any kind of employment, or even in business or occupation. Even in business and occupation also people retire. They retire out of their own will. Whereas in an employment, they have to retire according to the employment terms and conditions. So, when does a person retires, for example, in business or occupation? Basically, it happens when a person reaches a particular age, a particular determined age. Maybe when physical conditions do not allow the person to work anymore. In a profession like people who are professionals like chartered accountants, doctors, they may work up to 70 years. But after a particular point of time, their physical conditions do not allow them to work anymore. So that would be the point of retirement for them. Then retirement could also be due to a personal choice. Many times we hear that people are opting VRS scheme, voluntary retirement scheme. They are taking early retirement from their jobs, even from their professions. There could be a plethora of reasons for that. Some people already have some income to bank upon. Some may be having some agriculture income. Some may be having some rented income. Some may have other investments like stock options are there. People are investing in mutual funds, in stock market. So they have earned quite a good amount of money even from selling of real estate. So generally, if we look all over the world, the retirement age generally would be from 55 years to 70 years. It may vary from case to case, but this is the general perception. And there could be certain jobs which are of dangerous nature, which are of fatiguing nature, and in those cases, either the employee can opt for an early retirement or the employer themselves, according to their service conditions, the retirement age could be earlier. Now, let's talk about the Indian context. In Indian context, people didn't have to worry much about their retirement because of the joint family system, because people used to bank upon their children when that they would take care of their parents. Today also, we are following the same traditions, there is no doubt about that. But because of the complexities of life, because of liberalization, because of that, there have been a proliferation of nuclear families. And even otherwise, now again, there are small families. If there are only one or two sons or one or two daughters, 2 or 3 daughters, so they go abroad. Or even if they don't go abroad, they might settle in some other city, some other town. So the parents are left to fend for themselves, and then it's not just the case of survival. Now the scenario is changing. Like in the West, retirement doesn't necessarily mean that one will live in solitude or one will live in isolation. Retirement may also mean going for a holiday, pursuing one's own hobbies, pursuing one's vocations which one could not pursue while in regular jobs and regular profession. Retirement could also mean working for social causes. So in India also, the people who are retiring now, they are of that generation. They want to live an independent life. They also want to maintain their standard of living. They also want to enjoy all the latest gadgets. They also want to enjoy the latest movies. They also want to go, to have a luxurious life. So basically, there is a ardent need of a retirement planning. So unless and until one plans, whatsoever may be the salary of a person, whatsoever may be the current income of a person, but unless and until one plans, for say 10 years ahead or 20 years ahead or even 30 years ahead, one cannot hope to accumulate that amount, or it's not the question of accumulating. One should have a regular flow of income coming after the set retirement ages. So because of that, there is a need for retirement planning. So therefore, retirement planning has assumed a great importance. Until now, corporate houses used to plan for the finances. They used to make cash flow statements for 10 years ahead, 5 years ahead. But now we have to make cash flow statements on individual basis, because in our everyday life also we see that a household or a home is like a factory. It's like an organization. You have to organize. There are so many gadgets. Every day you have to have maintenance systems in your household also. You have to see what items have to be brought and children's education and whatnot. So similarly for retirement planning also, one has to set aside a certain amount of money so as to accumulate it, and so that you can build up a corpus at the time of your retirement, and then further you have to plan how to invest that corpus in order to get a regular income. So therefore, what are the steps in retirement planning? This we would be talking. First of all, steps. The first and the foremost step today, there was also a common perception that people used to think that retirement, a person would think about the retirement only when a person is in his 40s or maybe in his 50s, his or her 50s, but no more. Even a person who may be in his or her 20s or 30s may plan for retirement. One has to plan for retirement in order to lead a prosperous life. So number one step is you have to take a decision about the retirement age. What should be the retirement age? At what age I am going to retire? Whether it's going to be 55, 58, 60, whatever. Then setting off financial goals. What are my financial goals? Am I going to build a house? If I'm already having a house, I would be building a house in a hill station. I would be building up a villa. I should own a farmhouse. I should own an agricultural land which will give me a regular income. So those kind of financial goals could be there. Then savings of relevant amounts. So in order, once the goals have been defined, have been enumerated, then what is the saving which I can set apart? Saving of relevant amount vis-a-vis the goals. Next step, one has to invest in the appropriate modes. One has to see that where my saving will yield the maximum returns. So one has to decide about the investments. There can be a mixed array of investments. There can be a mixed portfolio. Then a financial planner would also suggest suitable investments depending on the net worth of a person. So calculation of net worth. This will keep on changing from time to time. So therefore, we need to monitor the financial plan also, so that we can see how much in savings one can set apart. Normally, the passage of time, the savings would be more, the income would be more, but it can be otherwise also. Sometimes there can be some contingencies. So we have to again monitor it. We have to adjust, make the suitable adjustments. Monitoring, and then we can make say suitable adjustments with regard to the monitoring term. So while a financial planner is making this financial plan, charting out the future course of action, what are the various factors? Because retirement plan will differ from person to person. even in the case of insurance, in the case, if a person wants to take insurance, there could be two persons of the same age, working in the same organization, drawing the same amount of salary, working on the same position, but their financial conditions could be different, their environment could be different, their family background could be different. Their future plans could be different. So the different plans of insurance plans would be suggested to both these people. But retirement, definitely, there is going to be a overall difference in perception of different people. So it could depend on lifestyle, what lifestyle a person wants to attain at the time of retirement. Like I said, some people look at retirement, like holidaying and enjoying, like people in the West. They just enjoy their retired life. So it depends on the perception of the person, personal values. Some people would say, no, we just want to be a religious person. We just want, our wants would be limited at that time. We would not need all those things. So lifestyle is one thing, personal values. Then again, the kind of profession a person is in, that would also vary. That will also change the perception. If a person is salaried class, if a person is in business, if a person has been a professional, so his or her perception would change regarding what type of life he or she wants to live after that. Then number of years which are left for taking retirement, that would also depend. What is the inflation rate? So all these factors will affect the financial plan. Present net worth of the person, risk appetite of a person, whether the investment should be in stocks, in bonds, it could be in mutual funds, in ULIPs, or whether it should be only in government securities. So that risk appetite of a person, differs. It's not necessary. A person may be having very high net worth, but his risk appetite is very low. So it depends on the person to person. Then what is the person's conviction in the retirement planning? So all these factors would affect. Now another factor which is very important, like at the very outset I said that we would be talking about life expectancy. Participants know that life expectancy has increased over the years. Just look at the statistics. What was life expectancy 50 years ago and what is the life expectancy today? Probably 50 or 60 years ago, the life expectancy in India itself was around 32 years, 35 years. And but now the life expectancy is about 64.64. So, and we see in India also people are living till the ages of 75, 80 years. Although in the West, like in USA, the life expectancy is 15 years more than what is in India today. So, but in India also, the life expectancy is going to be high because of better medical facilities, because of better living conditions, because of better quality of life, because of better economic conditions also. So, it is the major, you can say, determinant in the case of retirement planning. Because in older days, one would hope that after retirement, say 58 years, most of the people may not even reach their superannuation age. And even if some people reach, they may be living for say 5 or 10 years. But now, no longer. Even after the retirement ages, people may live for 30 years, 25 years.
They began saying life begins at 60.
And yes, and life begins at 60. And if we look around us, in our acquaintances, relatives, neighbors, we see people living till 80s, 90s, but at least till 80s. And especially I have seen in defense services, people who have retired as colonels, brigadiers, they live till late 80s. And many of them had retired at the ages of 55 years, and now they are in 80s. So you can well imagine how many years they have been drawing pension and they have been living their life.
Very active life.
And very active lifestyle. Because that is because of the fact they are getting regular income, because they don't have to worry about their daily sustenance. So that is the major reason. And because of their disciplined life, that's
also army hospitals are very good.
Yes. Because disciplined life have been ingrained in them at the time of induction in the defense services. So therefore, longevity of a person has to be kept in mind while making out the retirement plan. So if we just see the current statistics in India, we would find that around 90% of Indian population is not covered under any pension plan. Only 10% of the people would be covered in any kind of a pension plan. So therefore there is a big scope of these kind of retirement planning in India. So therefore we have to see what are the current income of a person, what kind of life he or she wants to lead at the time of retirement. So what would be the post-retirement expenditure? So accordingly, then life cycle is also very important while working out the retirement plan. We will, for example, we are making a retirement plan for a person who is, say, 32 years of age. So then life cycle, if this person is married, maybe having children, one of the client may be just recently married, other client may have 1 children or 2 children. In future, how many children he is expecting? 1 child, 2 child, what would be their expenses? So that means you have to plan their budget accordingly, expenses towards. Then as a person goes through the life cycle, then middle ages, the children would be school-going children. A large part of the expenditure would be incurred in school education, coaching classes. Then the adolescent age of the children, again, you have to plan for the professional education, etc., etc. So accordingly, you have to plan that how much money has to be set aside. So it's not necessary as a person moves forward in his life cycle, the amount which you can set aside apart can be lower also, can be higher also. Then career stability is also one of the variable which will affect any kind of retirement plan. Some people who are in stable jobs, you can plan definitely for them. You know, this would be the set apart. Some of the people who may be in volatile kind of business, so their earnings are not definite, so you cannot set apart. So you have to continuously monitor the plan. So you have to work differently. So therefore financial plan, it has to be customized according to the person's requirement. Now many people would be very open to the idea of retirement planning. Many people in India may not know what retirement. Well, the client, the financial planner should ask the client that, especially I am talking in the Indian context, how old your children now at that particular age. Say if you are planning to retire at 55, what would be the age of your children? Would you be able to complete your your obligations towards education? And marriage also is an important aspect in India. So would you be able to marry them, or because people in India generally wants to be in active job, they want to have a regular income, before marrying their children. And even if they retire, in case of late children, in case of late marriages, then the issues could be different. So basically, it would, first of all, a financial planner should know about the personal background of the person, the family background, then future promotional course of a person, how the person would progress in his job or profession.
So in other words,
maybe by the time he is 50, he might have accumulated a lot of earnings. If he works out like that, he would say, yes, fine, you can retire at 55. There's no need to continue till 60. It's fine. You can complete all your obligations towards your family. And maybe your assets. Some people in India, there are people who have agricultural income, who have other income. They are working somewhere, maybe in a job or somewhere. So they have something to bank upon. So in that case, the financial planner would see those aspects also. What are his assets? What is the liquid income? Which are the fixed assets? Then he will segregate between the liquid assets and the fixed assets.
So is going to look at his current earnings, but possible future earnings, and also other avenues of increasing his.
Correct.
So in that context, recently we've had this reverse mortgage business. We've had this information about reverse mortgage, which could be one way of releasing more income for him in late life. How do you think that might fit into this, and how effective is going to be in the Indian context? Because it's a new idea.
Yes, this reverse mortgage system was, this idea was mooted by our finance minister in the recent budget, and many banks have taken a lead in introducing the system, reverse mortgage system. Uh, Basically, major Indian retired couples don't have any regular income to bank upon. And like I was talking about the Indian joint family system, many times the people whom you are banking upon, your sons and daughters, may not be able to support you or may not support you at that particular time. So the government and the banks have come with a novel scheme, like you said, reverse mortgage system, wherein if the older couple, as you say, is having their own house, they can mortgage their house to a bank or a financial institution, and the financial institution would pay them a regular income depending upon the valuation of the house, and they can live till they live. And
If I may add something to this, for the time being in India, the regulation or the characteristic of this loan, because it is a loan, is not yet clear. I understand National Housing Bank is developing those regulations. The issue arises whether Reserve Bank of India will allow the banks to consider it as a housing loan and therefore a preferred loan in terms of the portfolio or not. And it seems only two banks in public sector have experimentally tried it. None of the private banks has yet done it. Punjab National Bank, as of last week, had 12 such loans, 12 loans extended, and Corporation Bank had 7 loans. And the basic principle, as you have rightly said, is using your house as an equity. And then for the number of years you live, you can stay in that house. And after the demise of one or both the partners, then the house actually, as per the will, would be inherited by the inheritors, who, if they pay up the reverse EMI amount plus whatever the interest is due, could take the house back, or the bank which is otherwise loaned that money would put it up for sale, and after deducting the amounts due to it, give the rest of the money to the inheritors according to the will. This is a very popular device in the US in the last couple of decades, especially as Mr. Jain mentioned, that the lifespans have gone up. Practically after the so-called retirement, there is another lifespan of 20, 30, 40 years, sometimes even longer. And with the health costs going up and so on and so forth, many people have a house as a major asset, which at that age is without any encumbrances. It in many ways is a very suitable device in India, where if societal thing is changing away from not depending on the children. After all, that house is meant for the children, but while you are alive, you become dependent on them. So developments will take place.
There's an element of fear in the minds of the people. The interest rate might take a change. Inflation might catch up. One is not very clear about what one wants. See, after retirement, like you said, people have completed their obligations to their children, their way of marriage and education. So basically, these are, don't you think, inhibitors in going for a serious retirement planning? I'm again talking in Indian context. We are not that professional. Even the insurance concept itself is
Basically,
something
yeah,
very
it's
new.
in the subsequent chapters, there is a focus on the change of inflationary conditions in India and what effect they would have. So a financial planner has to take into consideration the inflation factor and factor in this inflation cost, and so as to arrive at a suitable figure. For example, if according to today's standard, if a person feels that according to today's standards, I should need, say, 20,000 rupees per month to live according to my standard of living. So the amount of inflation rate has to be factored in to arrive at, say, what would be this 20,000 equivalent to after 20 years. So according to that, the financial planner will plan to set apart that money so that one could get that income.
And secondly, all the investments are based purely on stock market. See, while suggesting your retirement planning, will it be a combination of stock market, stock options,
These
and
days,
properties,
Correct.
or various short-term, for example, debt-related instruments from government? Is it it's going to be a mixture of all of that?
It's going to be a mixture of all of them, and it could be just investment in debt markets or investment in just government securities for a particular person. It could be a mix of all the investments for another person, and it could be just equity and mutual funds or volatile investments in the case of third person. So it will depend on person to person, on the perception of the client, on the risk appetite of the client. Whereas the financial planner, the prudent financial planner would be one who would suggest the correct course of action for a particular person, looking at his assets and liabilities.
Will people also have control over their retirement planning while committing my funds? The short term, suddenly down the line, all my priorities change. Like if you have any, like switching from say enhancer to multiplier to some magnifier.
Yes.
We have.
That will always be there because we cannot work in ideal situations. That is, today we have made a plan for 20 years ahead or 30 years ahead. The things will work according to our plan because we are living in a dynamic world, and so nothing is static. So that's why this monitoring, continuous monitoring, and then accordingly taking action, or you can say feedback, and then corrective measures, you can say,
Well,
have to be taken. So these are very important because the plan which we make today may not work out. So in some cases it could be monitored on yearly basis. In some cases it has to be monitored quarterly or even half yearly or even quarterly basis. So that's very important. The perception of a person also might change in between.
exactly. In fact, precisely.
The perception may
My
change.
view
A
on the
person
world-
was saying that I want to retire at 55 years. My normal retirement age in my company is 60 years. I want to retire at 55 years. Say after 5 years, this person comes and he says, no, I want to continue working after 60 years. Tell me another way of earning money after 60 years, beyond 60 years. So this might happen. So that's why it's a very dynamic thing. So that is why we need financial planners. Otherwise, there was no need of financial planners, and even the concept of financial planner was unheard in a country like India.
Certainly.
Even today, it will take some time for the people to absorb the concept of financial planning. And in the West, Mr. Datta knows it very well, in the Western countries like in UK, USA, people pay exorbitant fees to a financial planner so that they can plan for them, for their retirement. They can also work out a suitable plan, how to utilize their estate. They suggest that this much you should invest in real estate, this much you should invest in a regular income plan, like this, It's the duty of the financial planner, and the basic difference is that the financial planner doesn't sell those plans. Financial planner only suggests that you have to invest in such and such plans. Because the moment a financial planner becomes a seller, becomes a commission agent for a particular company, he or she will have that thing at the back of his mind. That because I want to sell only mutual fund because I will get commissions. Basically the job of financial planner is not to sell the plan so that one is unconcerned about the commissions. One should only have client's interest uppermost in his mind. Well, annuities, all life insurance companies are offering annuity plans in India, but
It's not been taken up. So
no, it is being taken up, but till now, actually, unit linked plans were introduced only till a few years ago, only 5, 6, 7 years ago. And before that, they were not unheard, and even if they were introduced by the public sector company, people were afraid. Even agents were skeptical about offering these products to the customers. So the customers were immune to using those traditional products. And in a typical traditional product, annuity, because the rate of interest was not very high, so therefore, and then people who used to sell insurance plans were not really financial planners, so they were selling plans that you will get, say, in those times they would say that you will get 5,000 rupees after say 20-30 years. Now, what is the value of 5,000 rupees after say 30 years or 20 years? So that they didn't use to work out. Then people who were having limited incomes, they could set apart only a limited amount of premiums. We used to hear, even in life insurance, people used to be insured for 10,000 rupees, 15,000. Anybody, even 10 years ago, a person who used to take an insurance of 1 lakh rupees, people used to consider him that he is a big party because he is taking insurance of 1 lakh. Only recently, in the past, you can say after 95, this income patterns have changed and people have started investing in these plans. So therefore, annuity plans are being sold, and mostly annuity plans in unit link terms are being sold because there is a chance that the money would grow much faster. Seeing the current stock markets conditions and the current offerings by the insurance companies, so people are investing in unit link plans, and there are very noble plans in unit link. Sometimes single premium plans.
I think taking from what Mr. Datta mentioned, we did a sample study regarding life states. Anyone who is interested in retirement planning, if I take a comparative quote for a pure pension plan, which involves purchase of annuity,
Okay.
and getting a certain amount of money every year using a ULIP plan, they always prefer the ULIP plan. The reason being, the ULIP plan is based on your today's movement of the stock exchange. And all the money that is collected as a premium, most of it is put into the stock market. It acts as a mutual fund. But the moment there is a bust in it, you will find the pension plan is more attractive purchase of annuity, because the projects of pension plan probably are not invested in the way the premium of ULIP plans are invested. They are bound by certain restrictions, like it has to be highly secure items like 6% bonds or 8% or 7% bonds. Basically, it gives you the protection of your capital, the money that you have paid. Of course, you can have different types of annuity, like deferred. You pay certain amount for 15 years, then stop it and then get the benefit after that. Variety of concepts are there. But pension plans, like you said, today is not very attractive. People don't buy it. The only reason, as I see it, is the very hot stock market which is diverting.
Overrated.
I don't see it. It's fundamentally the company which was yesterday is selling certain amount of product, a certain amount of money. Is selling the same amount of marginal incremental growth. That's about all.
Basically, you are saying that people don't want to wait that longer to invest in annuity plans.
Even the stock market is artificially propped up just because there is a lot of liquidity in the market. Money is coming from all directions. So when the demand is more, when the supply is this much, it props up. It unnecessarily increases the stock market. The value of a particular stock goes up for no reason.
One attractive point about annuities is because we're talking about people living longer. The thing about annuities, it guarantees you until you die. It doesn't matter how long you live. So I don't know if that point has come across.
Well, that's only if one has opted for annuity for life. There are other options also available: annuity, fixed annuity, that is annuity certain.
Yes, but if it is a pension, then you would opt for life.
Yeah, but annuity for life is the most, I think, feasible option which a person should take.
So it seems to me perhaps it's not, being a broker, you probably don't expect that people are not educated enough for that or not aware of it.
You can have control over the purchase price. Exactly. One of the see, it's a joint plan that we take.
Basically, in annuity for life, there are two plans which are being offered by insurance companies these days. One is just annuity for life, and another is annuity for life and return of purchase price thereafter.
That is a guarantee, yes.
Yeah, and return of purchase price.
If you die early.
Yeah. Here in this case, if a person dies early, then the purchase price is left with the company only. It's not given to the inheritors. So in that case, so people generally don't opt for this, although the amount of annuity which has to be given per month is more in this case. Because it's the same concept that the annuity which will be left with the insurers would be shared among in the pool of people, and it would be given to those people who will live longer. Whereas in this case, annuity for life would also be given, and after that, purchase price, if any, if it's there, it will be given to the inheritor. If a person lives quite longer, then there might not be any purchase price left. So I think this is the best option. Some of the companies I think are not offering this second option. So that's the reason that people don't opt for this option. They opt for a annuity for a fixed period. That's for 20 years, 15 years. So they tend to live longer, but the annuity stops at a particular age.
In fact, just to give an idea about the Indian situation, the companies themselves are discouraging people to go in for a pension plan, pure pension plan.
What is the company? The insurance company.
The insurance company.
Right.
They find somehow a saleable product is a ULIP product. People are able to see, even though IRDA has given a restriction that you can show illustration on hypothetical 6% and 10%, but they look at the stock market which is growing at the rate of 20% plus. So this is
So, but
absolutely
this is purely from the insurance company's profit point of view, rather than the client's benefit point of view.
Yes, but the client is also not able to visualize beyond. In
No,
fact, if you
basically,
go by, if you
basically
go by past
companies,
data,
yeah, companies look at from a win-win situation. Basically, it's not that.
As a financial planner, you have to look at it from the client's point of view.
Yeah,
client's
yeah,
point.
that's right. But insurance companies, or for that matter, any financial company looks at win-win situation. But that's also important for them because they have to maintain their liquidity ratios, they have to maintain their liquidities, they are answerable to the regulator. And just adding to that, we were talking about pensions. Now this PFRDA bill is it's on the cards and it's about to be passed by the Parliament of India in due course of time. And with this introduction of this authority, perhaps there might be pure retirement plan companies, pure companies which would offer only financial retirement plans. Because right now, maybe that insurance companies, because they are tied up between offering life insurance plans as well as retirement plans, so probably they might not be coming out with full-fledged retirement plans. But with the introduction of this bill, either the same insurance companies will come out with more plans which would be in full bloom, like annuity for life and also taking care about in case a person dies early. And there could be other standalone companies also. I think this is a subjective opinion. And in mutual funds also, the performance of a mutual fund varies from company to company. There are charges in mutual funds also, administration charges and all. The only thing is that in ULIP plan, according to the regulating authority, the company has to divulge all those expenses. What would be the fundamental management expenses? What would be the administration expenses? What would be the mortality charges? Unlike in a traditional plan, there also the same kind of charges are being levied, like mortality charges and other administration charges. In fact, the first year premiums in a traditional endowment plan, 80% of the premium goes into these kind of expenses, underwriting expenses, mortality expenses and all. Only 15% of the expenses of the premium is basically invested. And basically the insurance companies start getting the money for the savings part from the second year onwards. So the thing is that in unit-linked plans, because all these charges are have to be revealed, so therefore the customer have a feeling that yes, so many charges are being deducted. Whereas in mutual funds, it could be a 19-20 difference. That it could be somewhat lesser, it could be somewhat more. So it depends on plan to plan, even in the case of mutual funds. Yes, there are few merits and demerits of both the plans. There are merits of unit-linked also in the sense that there is a addition of a mortality cover also along with your investments, whereas such a thing is not there in a mutual fund plan. Then like we were talking about this retirement planning, annuity plans, in case a person is able to build a big corpus at the time of the vesting age, so that the company assures very good, you can say, annuities on that corpus. Whereas such a plan would not be available in a mutual fund. Mutual fund are seen to be a short-term investments, whereas ULIPs are seen to be a long-term investments. If a person is planning for a time horizon of 20 years or more, I mean, let's be very clear, because I have worked in an insurance company. So we used to say that a person who is looking for a time horizon of 20 years and beyond, then ULIPs would be the best option for him. But if a person is looking for a time horizon of up to 10 years or maybe even up to 15 years, then probably mutual fund would be a better bet for this person. then even an insurance seller should suggest that, okay, you want a time horizon of 8 to 10 years, then mutual funds, you should go for mutual funds. That would be the right, honest advice to a client.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.